What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your homies from PlayLegit.net. I am Corey Elijah here with KJ. How's it going, man?
Look, man, it is year 10 of Play Legit, buddy. We ain't stopping.
We're coming hard. We're here with the Play Legit podcast. Today we have some dope gaming talk, gaming slash movie talk to get into with you guys. We're going to be talking about the number one movie in America right now, making all of the money, making all of the Birds of Prey fanboys and girls very upset. Sonic the Hedgehog came in strong. Man, this is going to be a great talk. In my opinion, I really enjoyed the movie. So we're going to get in depth about Sonic the Hedgehog, as well as a few other things, what direction they could possibly go in with the franchise, as well as possible adaptations that Nintendo slash Sega could do in the future as well. So I'm super pumped to talk about this, man. Whenever you're ready, KJ, we can go ahead and get on into this.
I'm ready, man. Let's talk about it.
All right, man. So first off, like I said, I really enjoyed the movie. It was great to me. What's your thoughts? What's your opinion on Sonic?
Well, I think what they did here was they basically listened to the fans. I mean, no matter how it came to be at the end of the day, they listened. And when you listen and stick to the source best you can, any kind of way, you're going to reap the benefits. You can just ask Marvel. Marvel, they do what they can. They deviate ever so slightly to accommodate the movie going audience, but at the end of the day, they still go on the right path they're supposed to go. And that's why I think Sonic was well received this weekend.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It was true to the source material. I mean, they had plenty to pull from. I mean, they pulled from the game, of course, but they also pulled from other source material, comic books, as well as the television series that they had as well. As a lifelong fan of Sonic, I mean, Sonic's been around pretty much my entire life. I was born in the late 80s. I mean, around that time is when Sonic was introduced to us. So, I mean, I grew up with the property, even like being young, going to the library, I would always read like the Sonic comic books, things of that nature. So it was so dope to see the movie be done in such a way where, yes, it's a movie where, these studios, they always want to pair these CG characters with humans, but they did it in a way where it did justice to Sonic in a way where if they decide to separate it and go off and go into a world that's full CG, they could do it that way. If they want to keep him in the human world, they could keep it that way as well. So, I mean, from just the mannerisms of Sonic, he was fun the entire time. Dr. Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey, I mean, just true to life, Dr. Robotnik, just a genius, but like a quirky genius that was
I'm in
just,
charge.
yeah, just so off the wall, but understandably off the wall because if I mean he's a sociopath, he thinks he's better than everybody. He makes it known in the film that he thinks he's better than literally everyone. So it makes sense. And just how he went about trying to capture Sonic and all of his robotic contraptions, at times it being hilarious, at other times it being like, oh snap, like this man is crazy. He literally does not care. He'll do whatever he needs to do. I thought it was portrayed very well by Jim Carrey. Definitely a standout in the film. But overall, I thought it was a great time.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I'll say this, man. They did a great job of setting up the next movie, but they did it in such a way it didn't take away from this current movie. It didn't seem like an advertisement for Sonic 2, So I just like the subtle and then the stuff right in your face too that set up the sequel. But I just think they did a good job overall of letting us get used to this version of Sonic and what he can do and the people that are hanging out in this world. And I think they did a good job of establishing and building that foundation. And guys, look, I'm telling you, there's going to be a sequel here,
Oh yeah, there's definitely going to be. I mean, if they I mean, it might be a trilogy if they can. I mean, the way things are going, as long as they don't completely bomb in the second film, which if the way it's looking right now with the amount of money that it's made, there's definitely going to be a second film. Hopefully, we don't have to wait too long for it because I'm hyped to see it. I wish we could get it 2021, but it's probably going to be more of like a 2022 type thing with all of the CG that they have to deal with. But I mean, I'm pumped for it. Ben Schwartz, the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog, did a phenomenal job. I mean, he feels like he's Sonic. You know, the voice matched perfectly how he handled the character, the emotion he would put into some of the dialogue. Because at times the film does get kind of emotional, just dealing with Sonic's whole backstory and him being alone and all of these other different things. I thought Ben Schwartz did a phenomenal job, as well as just being quirky and like being silly. Because I mean, in the grand scheme of things, Sonic is kind of like a teenager in the film, I guess you could say, or even like a preteen. um, but that even being with that said, he's still a superpowered alien, which I'm fine with. Before growing up with Sonic, he wasn't always necessarily an alien, but you could consider him being from an alien planet because he's not from Earth. So I mean, it all makes sense. James Marsden as well, who plays the straight man in a way, the sidekick, I'm gonna say, to Sonic, his partner, his human counterpart, did a great job as well. He was funny at times. He was good at playing, being serious, and it was a nice, like, kind of stand-in father figure at some points as well within the film. How did you feel about some of like the supporting cast at all? Like I know like Tom James Marsden's character, his his wife, his wife's sister. I mean, her name is Natasha Rothwell. She's in like Insecure. I don't know if you've ever seen that show on HBO with Issa Rae, but she's a really funny character. And like when I first saw her, I was like, I wonder where they're going with this. But she was great comic relief through a lot of like the tough parts in the film where there was kind of a little bit of downtime, uh, especially like the montage of like her daughter giving her and her giving Sonic her shoes and things like that, where Sonic finally gets his iconic Sonic the Hedgehog Pumas. But I thought she was really funny just because she like hated Tom the entire time for no reason. But it was hilarious. And like if you've ever like been in a relationship with someone, a lot of the time their family doesn't necessarily like you, and if they don't like you, they'll let it be known unnecessarily. so so I thought that was really funny. It was just, little things like that. It wasn't like this wasn't a huge, huge, huge film, but with the cast that they had, with them actually listening to the fans about how Sonic should look overall, it came out a great film.
Yes, so
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say I think that some of the jokes and stuff were built definitely for the kids. Like some of the things I was just like, all right, that's a bit goofy, a bit too goofy. But I gotta understand too that the movie was PG and is it's for the kids as well as adults. So I do think overall they did a good job of juggling the comedy and some of the product placement. A lot of
Mm,
times bothers me, like in Power Rangers, the way they handled the Krispy Kreme donuts. That was just a travesty. That was just so annoying to me. But
mm.
honestly, the way that they did the product placement in this was pretty funny, man. With the stuff with the government, I don't want to spoil that, but it was really making me laugh.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where it's like with these types of films, especially with kids' movies, there's always product placement. And it's like as an adult, me being a man in my 30s, I'm like I expect it to be there. And it's like it was almost they did it in a way where it's like for the parents to be like, we don't want to have to do this, but we have to do this. So we're gonna at least like we're gonna like do it in a way where it's like we know we're being kind of like we're trying to get you to buy something, but we're going to kind of make fun of it in a way as well. So I thought it was done in a way that was pretty funny.
And also, I'll say too that there's a couple parts where you're like, well, I don't know about that, how that could happen. But like for example, the scene with the truck getting destroyed. And why is Sonic still driving the truck? He could probably just get out and handle the business, you know.
Mm.
But I mean, I still had fun with the scene. But overall, they did a good job of covering their tracks. So, for example, Sonic could have easily went to San Francisco on his own. We know that because he's super fast. But Sonic, they put in that where he had a bucket list of things he wanted to do.
Mm.
And there's no way if he was just running to San Francisco, he's not going to be able to hit those things. So that was another reason why that character Tom came in and was such a good help because, yeah, though Sonic is super fast and do all those things, he still hasn't really experienced a lot of life. So they were able to do those things. That bar scene was really funny. How they ripped from Days of Future Past,
Right.
and I'm fine with that because that works with Sonic's abilities. It didn't seem far fetched. That I think that copying of that scene was fine, and I think that the way that they executed it was perfect.
Yeah, I thought it was funny at the end of the day. Like it was like almost like a direct rip from Days of Future Past, but then they also did it in a way where it's still like kind of silly. Some of the things that Sonic made happen during it all, it was a really fun thing, and like throughout it all as well. Like Sonic is he's a kid. He's young in the film. He reads comic books. He has a weird hat. He sits in a beanbag chair. He just wants to play games like kids are playing games, whether it's organized sports, and he just wants to have a family. He wants to have friends. So I mean, it made everything make sense. Like, yeah, of course he could just run to San Francisco, but why would he just want to leave Earth when he's never had any friends? And now this is the first opportunity where he was actually able to interact with a human being. Like, if it was me, I wouldn't want to just leave right away either. It's like, man, this entire time, like I've been watching these people and I've never been able to talk to them. Of course, if I have one opportunity to, before I go, to possibly maybe make a lifelong friend, I'm going to go ahead and take it. So, I mean, it made sense to me in that vein. There was some, like, there is one like major kind of plot device that never got resolved in a way. I mean, maybe everybody got Men in Black wiped, but I mean, at one point in time, Tom is on the run completely, and I mean, he's on the news and everything. So I mean, who knows how that was resolved? But that was like the only thing that I could really nitpick about the film when it came to the writing. It's like, I mean, you used it, but then it didn't really go anywhere. It just kind of disappeared. Other than that, like it was a great time. It was a fun film. Uh, like I said, I really look forward to seeing another one of these. This is something I definitely would purchase to have in the catalog. There's a lot of movies that I see that I will only just see the one time when I see it in the theaters. This is something I definitely will buy. Something that I'd like to just pull up, watch with the kids over and over again and stuff like that. So overall, I thought they did a great job with the film. Is there anything that we're missing when it comes to Sonic, the overall in the film, before we give some scores for it?
Well, I'm trying to think here. Are we going to talk about that Easter egg at the end, buddy, or
I mean, I think
do it?
I think we should, just
Do it.
because it's one of those things where, like, at the end of the movie, and everything gets resolved. Sonic is doing what Sonic does here on wherever he ends up at the end of the movie. Um, but the whole time, you can't wonder but ask, like, I wonder if we're ever going to be able to see anybody else. In the beginning of the film, you see some echidnas. They weren't Knuckles. Not gonna spoil that, I guess, in a way. I guess that might be a light spoiler that it wasn't Knuckles, but there is echidnas, which means that leaves room for Knuckles to actually be a character. But in the after credit scene, we see a portal open up because rings can be used as portals, which I thought was a great way to utilize the rings, because I mean, why else would you collect rings? like you have to have them for something. So it was cool that they were able to utilize that as like a way to jump worlds throughout the universe.
And it was a reference to the bonus stages too in the Sonic game, so it's pretty cool that they put it to use like
Hmm.
that.
Yep, definitely. So we see a portal open up, and who do we see? I mean, everybody's favorite sidekick. I mean, in my opinion, maybe the greatest sidekick of all time. I mean, people really like Luigi, but that was really just a Mario reskin. We get Miles Tails Prowler. I mean, Tails shows up. He's looking for Sonic for some reason. We have no reason why. They don't tell us why he's looking for Sonic. He just is able to track him somehow, and he says, "Yep." It's showing that he's here. So then it fades out, and I was super hyped because KJ, I mean, you had this great theory of which, I mean, we don't know if this is true or not, but I mean, either way, it would kind of make sense about the original design of Sonic being a ploy to build buzz, to get people talking about the film, and then them just, being ready to switch it to how he ended up looking now, which is more true to the Sonic that we know and love, growing up, his final design. Because I mean, Sonic has kind of changed a little bit over time before this, but they went with more of the cartoonish feel, the feel that we would get, if we're playing like Sonic, not Sonic Boom, because there was no handkerchief or anything like that, thank God. But in the vein of Sonic that people are used to. So I was happy when they showed Tails, and it was kind of like a thing where they were like, okay, well, we tried the realistic look, the internet killed us for it. We went with the beloved Sonic detail look, although it's still kind of different, like even like how the eyes were and things like that. But Tails, when they showed Tails, it was just like, oh yeah, that's Tails. There's no doubt about it. Tails looks exactly how, I mean, if I could do graphic work how the CGI artists do, that's how I would make Tails. He was just like literally ripped out of the video game. There's Tails, and I was super pumped. I was like, dang, can we watch that movie? Can we watch that movie now? Can you just release that next weekend so we can go ahead and get the next one, because that's looking dope. How did you feel when Tails showed up?
Yeah, that just immediately I started thinking of like, okay, knowing how they've already shown us this movie version of Sonic and how cool like his abilities were at the end when he got it all together. And I was just thinking, okay, they've already established this Sonic. Now I wonder how this Sonic is going to interact with Tails, because they're going to do their teamwork moves like they do in the video games. But
Mm.
to see that on the big screen is just going to be really, really awesome. So I was just in my head like trying to immediately picture how that's going to look.
Yeah, like Tails grabbing Sonic and flying away,
Exactly.
and I'm like, that's gonna be amazing. I just can't wait to figure like what plot they may go with, like what's exactly happening, why Tails was coming to look for Sonic, because we know the echidnas are probably looking for him.
So I think what they're going to do is they're going to introduce the Chaos Emeralds. I think that planet, that mushroom planet that was deemed a really bad planet. So I think that's probably shots at Nintendo.
Mm.
I'm thinking, but Genesis does what Nintendo don't. I think maybe that's why they did that. But yeah, I think that's they're going to introduce the Chaos Emeralds, and I don't know if they're going to do Supersonic in the second one. That might be a little too soon, but I
Mm.
think they're going to at least start introducing the Emeralds. I think that there's going to be one on that planet that Eggman uses to get back to Earth. I think
Mm.
that there's one on Earth, and I think that it's going to be a race to get Chaos Emeralds. I think that the Eggman or Robotnik is going to make Metal Sonic, and I think that Sonic and Tails are going to face Metal Sonic in the sequel, and
Mm.
then you might get a little bit of Knuckles, and then okay, Shadow. That might be too soon for Shadow,
Mm.
but Shadow's going to come at some point. I don't
Right.
want to jump the gun though.
With So what you said, I mean, that sounds like a perfect second film. At first, I was thinking like they have to introduce Knuckles in the second film, but I mean, this they might be able to pull like 4 or 5 movies out of this. Honestly, now that you kind of put it that way, because they could definitely do the second film with only Tails really showing up, Robotnik coming back, Metal Sonic being introduced as well as as a villain, as a way for Robotnik to be in the film, but controlling that. The third film could, in a way, introduce Knuckles, which would bring it full circle with the echidnas, and then by the fourth film, dealing with all the Chaos Emeralds, having Supersonic. But because if we have Supersonic, then I mean, we have to have Shadow, So, and I mean, having Shadow in the fourth film, I would stick around for all 4. I mean, we don't have to just deal with trilogies. They're building worlds nowadays. I mean, they could even do spin-offs with this if things go well, because I mean, Tails can go on a whole side thing. They could even just do a Knuckles movie. Like if
Well, I'm
they,
thinking they should do a Big the Cat movie. I think that would get a lot of hits, a lot of viewership.
mm, I mean, they could do so much. I mean, they've made their money back. They've made extra money. People are invested, and they did a good job. So as long as they don't ruin it, they keep on with the designs that they have, and they bring in some good writers, they definitely could do a lot with this. Sega has made a comeback. I mean, they faded off for a while. They were having to rent out their characters to Nintendo, which probably really hurt their heart having to do that. But I mean, they might be able to make some dough to make maybe even like a comeback for gaming in the future. Because I mean, they're making some dough. They're making money off the Switch, but I mean, the millions that you're making off of international films will really help boost everything else. And we know like these movie sales are going to help boost game sales, things like that. So I mean, does this mean we're going to get another Sonic game that is going to be good, hopefully, not
Well,
just
I can't
necessarily a
promise
rehash,
that,
but
but you will always get a Sonic game. That's one thing I can promise you.
that's coming. That's going to be there regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, what are you thinking? What would you score Sonic the Hedgehog 2020?
So for me, I would give it a very strong, but I would still give it a 3.5 out of 5. I
Mm,
thought that some of the childish stuff, I thought that sometimes it got a little too goofy and some of the dialogue and a few things. But it to me it's close to a 4, but I would still give it a 3.5. But I do think it's a good family movie that you can bring in. But I've seen it. I watched it with kids. I watched it with adults. We had a family outing, and everybody enjoyed it in some sort of way. So I think it's worth your time, but it does have its little goofy flaws in it, and a little bit of that product placement. But overall, I did enjoy myself.
that is solid. I'm gonna be that guy to just be. I'm gonna be generous, and I'm gonna give it a solid 4, because with that being said, like yeah, the product placement was kind of goofy, but it was done in a way that it was like it wasn't the Krispy Kreme donuts, and especially
Right.
like the last time they touched on it, it was like it was really funny, and it was like in the vein of like the government would probably do something like that anyways. So with that, that's why it didn't really affect me that much. The slight plot hole with the whole, just being a terrorist and then it just going away was kind of
Everybody
like
forgot.
it was kind of, I was like, everybody forgot but me. I remember that. So that's why I wouldn't give it anything higher than a 4. I mean, it's not a perfect film, but I thought the way the pacing was great. The actors all did a great job, a phenomenal job. The design was great. And just it kept you laughing throughout, like throughout the entire movie. There was no point in the film where I was yawning. There was no point in the film where I was really tuned out at all. The whole time it was a ride. I enjoyed it. I definitely, like I said, I'd watch it again. I definitely will pick it up for the catalog. And with that said, that's why I'm going to have to give it a 4.
And there it is.
There it is, Sonic the Hedgehog 2020. If you have not seen it, please go check it out. Um, it's one of you've probably already seen it because we know people aren't going to see Birds of Prey, which I mean I enjoyed. I thought it was a good movie, but people aren't going to go see it for some reason. But it is what it
Hey,
is.
hey,
But
Corey.
yeah,
Hey, I will not be seeing that movie, bro.
you're not going to see Birds of Prey.
No, sir. No, sir.
Will you check it out on DC Universe? Because at the rate it's going, it'll probably be up on DC Universe.
I'll check it out on Believing My Roommate Rents It and I watch it.
I'll check it out on TNT when it airs on television in 7 months.
With commercials, yes.
That's all right. I didn't think it was bad, but overall, like, I mean, Sonic was a great movie, and I'm glad it's making money. With that said, is Sonic the best game to movie ever done? I mean, there's Mortal Kombat, there's a Super Mario Bros. Movie, there's Doom, Warcraft. There's so many films that were adapted. Silent Hill, adapted from video games and made into movies. I mean, is Sonic the best one? Can you think of any movie that has done better or is better?
So I look at these differently because there's so many of them that are just hot garbage. So I look at it like, was there the movies that when I watched it, I didn't get pissed off because so many of them, I'll just watch it and like Resident Evil, for example. I didn't see all of them, but I watched enough, and it's like that's not at all how it is. Who is this Alice person? What game is she in? And it's things like that that just insults the gamer.
Mm,
That so many movies have insulted the gamer, in my opinion, because and Sonic was getting ready to do that, but
mm,
they good on Paramount. I mean, if that's how it really went down, that they listened to the fans. I mean, however it came to be, we got Sonic, and that alone, to me, getting a character that you are used to all these years that you've played with, uh, all these years, collected all these rings, and had good memories with. The fact that they were able to do that, I can't think of many video game movies where they have characters in it that you have known and you've had fun with, and they've been properly executed in the movie. Like there's not too many of those movies where I can say, okay, yeah, this is exactly the representation of the character in the movie. So I think that Sonic did a good job of that. I thought that they did a good job of that with Robotnik as well. I mean, Robotnik is super egotistical and insane and all that, and Jim Carrey was perfect for that. So I felt like when I was watching this, sometimes when I'd watch a video game movie, I would forget that it was the IP I was watching. I just thought like, okay, I'm watching this generic sci-fi movie. I'm watching this generic martial arts movie. But I didn't feel that when I was watching this movie, I was like, yo, I'm watching the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And that's how it should be with all these. So Hollywood, take notes. Stick to the script. Stick to the material. You can do your little deviations a little bit, but overall, stick to the script and you will reap the benefits. So for me, yes, to answer your question, I know I went down the hill, but I'm the green hill, but I went back in the loop and I'm coming back up. Sonic
mm.
is the best video game movie to date, live action.
Dang. Well, you heard it from KJ. I mean, I have to agree. Now it's tough because I'm trying to bring a few things into consideration. And right now, I'm gonna take a look at total, right? Because right now, so we're looking at it broke the record for debut. It made 68 million with its debut. Overall box office, I'm not sure exactly. Um, So it's saying right now it has a shot at making 200 million domestically, right? Now the highest grossing film that's a video game adaptation right now is going to be Detective Pikachu at 144 million. So I mean, if Sonic is peaking at, it's looking like it's going to hit 200, then I mean, it's blowing Detective Pikachu out of the water. Second to Detective Pikachu, we're looking at Lara Croft Tomb Raider from 2001 with 131 million. And after that, it's Angry Birds. If you want to consider Angry Birds a video, I mean, it's a mobile game, so it's a video game. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's Angry Birds, for crying out loud. And then after Angry Birds, we're looking at Rampage, which I recently saw Rampage. I've actually owned that movie since 2018 and never watched it. But I had nothing to do like last week, and I finally watched it, and it's actually a pretty good movie. Um, but
I liked it, man.
I wouldn't
I
say
saw
that
it.
it's better than Sonic though. But it was a really good movie. Um, but I mean, there's some other movies on this list too. When it comes to the amount of money, Prince of Persia made like 90 million, but I did not like Prince of Persia at all. Um, Nothing against Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he's a great actor. Pokemon the first movie is on this though. Let's not forget about Pokemon the first movie. Um, I mean, that movie, I mean, I saw it as a kid. I'd have to probably watch it again to give like my honest opinion on it. But I remember seeing it in theaters. That was huge back in the day, going to Burger King before, going to see that movie. And as a kid, I really enjoyed it. But there's a lot of things that I enjoyed as a kid. We kind of were talking about like Double Dragon, and before we started recording, and you were like, sorry to break it to you, buddy, but Double Dragon's hot trash. And like running it back through my mind, I'm like, yeah, that movie probably is horrible.
I'm sorry, bro.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Like part of me wants to watch it, and then another part of me is like, don't even waste your time watching Double Dragon. But I mean, Pokemon the first movie was a really good movie. It was emotional as well, especially as a kid. It was super emotional with Ash turning to stone and all that stuff. Spoiler alert: if you haven't seen Pokemon the first movie that came out in 1999, 21 years ago, but I mean, overall, I mean, I'm gonna have to agree with you though. Sonic, as of today, it's gonna be the best. I mean, maybe we can come back to this. We can do like a marathon of video game movies and see
Oh God.
like when this finally comes out, when Sonic finally comes out on like on Blu-ray or digital or whatever, and see if it holds its own, like actually watching it against some of these other video game movies. But like off top, I can't think of anyone that is better than Sonic right now. Just how, like you were saying, how it treated the characters, how it treated the source material, how it didn't stray away. It didn't just bring up like, yeah, like Tom is a made up character, but that doesn't necessarily affect Sonic in a way. So it's like, yeah, they have to bring humans up just because there has to be that void filled. But that doesn't affect the source material and what they can do in the future with the whole property as well. So, I mean, overall, I'm saying that it's definitely the best to date. I mean, second, a close second is the Super Mario Bros. I'm completely just being BSing right now. That movie is
Okay, man. I was
hot
about to
garbage.
say. I was about to leave.
Oh man, how do they make Yoshi scary, fam? Like, oh my gosh, and the Goombas and John Leguizamo, like, come on, whatever. I mean, so, and with that said, just let's keep it moving. So, what properties or what games could Sega adapt, or even possibly Nintendo? I mean, there is talks of a Mario movie potentially being in the works, but other than that, because I mean, depending, like, who knows if that'll be good? What if they just make CG Mario in the real world? That'd just be weird. um what movies could they adapt? I mean, Sega or Nintendo. I'm thinking off top for Sega, they could do. they could do a Vigilante 8 from, remember that on Dreamcast?
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool to see from Sega. Um, I mean, they could also do like Shinobi. That would be kind of cool if they're looking at maybe, kind of getting into maybe like some R territory or something like that. Nintendo off rip. I'm thinking the only we talked about this yesterday briefly. I mean, a Metroid movie would be pretty cool. Or, in my opinion, the only other thing I could really think of them doing would maybe be a Legend of Zelda film.
What I would tell you, what I think would translate pretty well to the theater, and I'm being serious here. Get the people who are currently doing the Fast and Furious movies
Mm.
and do an F-Zero movie.
Mm.
Because you could get some really cool. Not only would you get good race scenes, but then we know that Captain Falcon's a bounty hunter, so you'd have his story too of going after the bounties and like chasing down people, and you'd have fight scenes there. You'd have the racing going on, and I think that could be a really fun movie.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that would actually be really dope. And people love Captain Falcon. And for the amount of love that he gets, it's kind of a shame that they don't do more with F-Zero. Like,
They gave us a taste in GX with that story mode, and I was like, man, what if they did a movie and
mm,
really focused in on Captain Falcon? That'd be fun.
yeah, that definitely would be. And even, I mean, they could even do like a really dope Star Fox movie, honestly.
Absolutely.
Like they could do a really dope Star Fox movie if they really wanted to put some funds into it. I mean, with the level of, a CG that we have nowadays. I mean, look at like even throwaway movies like The Rise of Skywalker. Like that movie looks really good, you know? So imagine what they could do with the level of CG that they have with, with Star Fox. People love Star Fox. I mean, you have the comic relief of Slippy. I mean, it just would be, I think they could do a lot with that. And I think it would look really, really good. And I think that would help draw people in, especially on the Nintendo side.
Yeah, I think so. I think that that's what Nintendo should do because they're already all set with their money. They don't have to, people would just think like, well, it's Nintendo, so their lead in should be Mario. But it's like not necessarily. Y'all could come in from the side and do something that isn't as well known, like an F-Zero or Star Fox is pretty popular, but it's not as well known as Mario. And they
Right.
could come in like that and get their foot in the door and see how the reactions are. They're good with the money. Switch is selling. They're all set. So it's not like they need to, immediately just rush in there.
Right. Yeah. And then like you give some time, develop a really good Mario movie. Because if you're gonna go with Mario, it has to be good. Like they tried it before and it was completely trash and it literally destroyed all of their dreams of, making movies. They were like, all right, this is our shot. And they gave us trash. And it's been what, that movie came out when? 1995 or something like that? Like,
Yeah, something like that, man.
so I mean, it's been a hot minute since they've even tried to make a film. And I mean, it's time. I mean, they have the money, like you said. And I think it would make more sense for them to not jump in with their biggest property and take that chance and, maybe do like $100 million budget, like F-Zero movie, like you're saying, or a Star Fox, or even like a Metroid movie. But a Metroid movie, I think they can make a blockbuster if they made a Metroid movie, honestly. Um, so it might even be better to go in the direction of like F-Zero or even Star Fox. But I think F-Zero, honestly, especially if they wanted to do like a live action adaptation, F-Zero would be the route to take. Base it around Captain Falcon because he's the most beloved character. He's a bounty hunter, like you said. So they have a full story that they could build around that, and people would go see it. I mean, kids know who Captain Falcon is. Kids play the Switch. They're playing Smash Bros. They will want to go see the movie, and then right now is the golden time to do it, because our age group, we're the ones that are coming up. We're like the age where like we have the money to spend on this stuff. And then a lot of people our age are going to bring their kids there with them, or they're going to go in their large groups of friends. Like, we're not broke, like we're the people that are spending the money now. So cater to us. You have the nostalgia factor. You have the characters that we've known and loved for our entire lives. It worked with Sonic. You can make it work with all of these other properties. If you want the money, just do it right and do it in a way that we'll be happy about. Make the characters look like how we know and love them, and you'll take all of our money from us.
The thing about it is, these people and DC also. I mean, all these guys, they don't have to be proud and prideful. Take the Marvel route. Do it how they did it. Follow their example. Y'all don't have to try to reinvent the wheel. Do it the way Marvel did it.
Yeah, I mean, they have the highest grossing film of all time. And how did they do that? By literally kind of rehashing the same kind of plot tropes, but doing it in a way that it was like, okay, well, dang, now we get this character that we love. Oh, snap, this character is going to be in this movie. Oh, they're all crossing over. Oh, this is all in continuation. Like the continuity, it all makes sense. You have to watch all of the movies to make everything make sense. Like, just do it. It may seem like a cheap trick, and in a way it is, but it works. I mean, don't reinvent the wheel. Just go ahead and just use the wheel, unless somehow you have hovercraft technology, use the dang wheel,
Straight up.
And we know you don't got hovercraft technology, so let's go. Get this money. I'm trying to pay you. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I think we're living in a good time right now. Sonic has made it okay for them to listen to the fans, which is good, because like you said, like, put your pride to the side. If we say we don't like something, then just listen to us. People were saying that they don't like Birds of Prey. They don't like the direction that you were taking it into, and no one went to go see the movie. You were like, no, we're just going to do it our way. We don't care how you guys feel about your social, political, ideologies or whatever. And everybody on Twitter and everybody on the internet, which is like a small portion of the population, but those are the people that know what's going on. People that aren't on the internet don't really know what's really going on. Like, they may know what's going on in like surface level, but when it comes to like films and building anticipation, like, people aren't really watching television. If you're not watching television and you're not on the internet, you don't really know what's happening. You're not going to know what movies are coming out. You're not going to have that drive to want to go see stuff. So when the people that are actually the people that speak back and actually have opinions on things and are the people that spend the money, you should probably listen to them. If you don't want your stuff to bomb, if you want to sell, listen to the audience. It's not 1995. You can't just drop a Super Mario movie and people won't know that it's horrible until they go see the movie. Like, people are going to be able to see it. They're going to pick trailers apart. They're going to post videos about it. People are going to watch those videos about, yeah, I mean, for some reason, I saw this little clip in the back of the trailer that it makes it seem like this is going to be this way. And then everybody's just like, oh, I'm not going to go see it. So listen to the fans. This is the kind of relationship that we have now. We want to give you our money, but we want you to do right by us as well. So Sega did it. Marvel has done it. We'll see if they continue to do it or if they go out and do their own Disney dollar thing. But listen to us and we'll help you. If you want to make all the money, I mean, we got you. We'll give you the money. We don't need it. I mean, we do, but we're going to give it to you anyways, as long as you're not on that BS. So.
And the thing about it is, for these folks that want to, they're trusted with an IP for a video game that's valued by the community, and you get that IP in your hands, and you want to do all these weird, just off the wall adjustments to a character, whether it be appearance or personality, whatever it is. Well, go ahead and step up and make your own separate IP, and don't touch what we love, what we have grown to know. Don't twist it up. Do it right. Because I will not be watching your movie. I'm telling you right now, I was not in that camp. I love Sonic. And I'm telling you right now, if they had dropped that movie the way that he was looking before, I was not going to watch it.
Me
So
neither.
it's a good thing they did, because look, that video, the initial trailer had more dislikes than it had likes. So they had to do something. So I encourage y'all again, like Corey's saying, let's speak up. So if something's not right, because look, this what happened with Sonic needs to keep happening. This should not be a rarity. All of these movies that are coming out based on video games need to be A1. It's 2020, y'all. We have the technology. Some of y'all got the money. It's time. The time for games is over. I mean, we're talking about games, but you know what I'm saying.
The time for games is not over, but the time for your games, people that are holding these IPs hostage, is over. You know, like, work with us, help you. You want to make money, we want to help you make money. Just don't do us wrong. Don't do the IP wrong. You know, the reason why these IPs are popular is because we like them the way they are. If we wanted Sonic changed, then we would have said a long time ago we wanted Sonic changed. People would have been like, oh, this cartoonish Sonic is kind of trash. I think we should, like, people were mad that they put a handkerchief on Sonic. You wanted to make him look like a real hedgehog. Like, what were y'all thinking? People were mad over a handkerchief and bandages. And you wanted to make him look like a real hedgehog, like we weren't going to say anything about it. Like we weren't all about to smash the dislike button.
Y'all messing with legacies here now. We talking about this. How long this thing? It's 30 years old, the Sonic.
Yeah.
So when you're doing your own little personal stuff, you're trusted with an IP, and didn't nobody tell you to take that IP and put on your own little nasty twists and turns and all that? No, that's not what we're talking about. When you are trusted with an IP that has so much good out of it, that's put a smile on so many people's faces, kids and adults, kids now. Look, that's a big responsibility, and it should not be taken lightly. Right. So I'm also passing this off to people that are getting the IPs to do future stuff. So like the people that are working on Mortal Kombat right now, handle your business. And any other future movies, handle your business, because when you are trusted with IPs that have so much legacy behind them and just so much awesome stuff intertwined, take care of it for us, for the gamers, for the people who want to spend their money. Thank you.
That's right. That's right, man. Awesome, man. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up tonight, man?
Look, I know I haven't been here for a minute, man, but I'm really very much enjoying this podcast, and I'm just telling y'all to stay tuned, because though I haven't been weighing in as much, I'm very much keeping my eyes on the whole gaming industry. I'm seeing what's going on with the PS5, the Series X, and I got a lot to say. So just stay tuned. We're gonna, as far as Corey, if you're down, man, let's keep it rolling, man, because I got stuff that's on my mind. I've been very much listening to what's going on.
Oh, man, you already know that I'm down, man. So you heard it, man. Stay tuned. There's definitely going to be more coming from me and KJ. There's plenty to talk about. I mean, we're coming into the springtime. That means, there's about to be a bunch of stuff happening. E3, a bunch of other things that are going to be going on. We got this next gen that's rolling out. We got games that keep on being delayed. So, I mean, there's a lot to talk about. So stay tuned. Keep it locked at playlegit.net. We will be back with another podcast soon for you guys. We definitely appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you stop by playlegit.net. Check us out at playlegit on Twitter as well. Hit us with some questions. Hit us with some feedback. We'd love to hear from you guys. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. We definitely appreciate you. Sega, thank you yet again for bringing Sonic in a way that we would love. Paramount, thank you as well. I like how you replaced those stars with rings. That was also very dope. So until next time, I've been your host, Corey Elijah, here with KJ, and we will catch y'all in the next one.
Mission 3, y'all.
Peace.